Good morning, everybody. Welcome, YouTube. Good to have you along. Let's get rid of that. Let's pull that up. Let's make sure this is ready to go. It's ready. I'm ready. Are you? Once again, if you're watching this as a replay here, we have roughly 14 minutes before we get to the actual start of the show, where the radio stations play it live too. So if you're watching right now on YouTube, all you're doing is just going to watch me babble. Morning, Mike. How you doing this morning? Is my audio coming in clear on the YouTube side of things? Let me know that. Appreciate it. I'll have Ron Ness from the North Dakota Petroleum Council coming on here today. And the second half, Daryl East with the North Dakota Farm Bureau talking about a subject that we started earlier about a guy that shot a moose on his property that was hassling and messing with some of it. Thanks, Mike. Morning, Karen. And anyway, we have more on the story as Paul Harvey. If you're old enough to remember Paul Harvey, we have the rest of the story on that. So we'll see how that goes. Plus, talking all kinds of other events. Let's see. Hopefully got me a mumble too. All righty. Let's see. What else is going on here? Heading down to Mobridge again, Karen, fishing this summer. So might have to make sure that you have time to BS a little bit again. I appreciate the last time you took me through the studio. Did all the teddy bears escape? Was it the big teddy bear escape in Mobridge? The breakout? Man, I tell you what a nice day here today. It's going to be 66 degrees and hardly any wind. Oh, I'm headed to Williston today. I have the DK Red Angus sale is going to be going on today at 2 o'clock Central Time. And I'm honored to be one of the ringmen up there. So if anybody watching right now, Morning, Greg. How are things going over in the Hettinger area? I hope your calving is going good too, man. I have not started. I have a couple of 2.5 weeks before I get a little bit worried about that. I got to get my cows out of the winter pasture here next week sometime, get them into the calving pasture. So if you're up for a heck of a scenic view, trying to get cattle out of some deep, deep badlands, you can sure come over and help me. Be more than happy to take that. But anyway, headed up to the DK Red Angus sale. Scott Kiefler is how you pronounce that name. We'll be headed up that way today. Even if you want to ride with, I can pick you up in Amadon, Belfield, Grassy Butte, Watford City. A lot of good North Dakota NDBA commercials. NDBA. Oh, there's still 3 teddy bears left. NDBA. Broadband. Oh, the Band Association. Okay, band. Gotcha. More cats seen around the area in the last few weeks. Really? You know, it doesn't surprise me. The thing is, mountain lions are going to go where there's, places where they can hide, which is anywhere. And they're going to go where the food is, right? So, yeah. There's still 2. Hey, you're on the other side of 85, Greg. Shoot them things, man. Where's the game and fish here? There it is. North Dakota still has 2 on my side. So if you have a cat over there, Greg, and you know where it is, give me a damn call, man. I will come over there, and I will be more than happy to take one of those cats for you. Or at least try calling one in, man. I got a couple days before I got to get too serious about working hard. You guys all start so early. Yeah, the Broadband Association of North Dakota took out some advertising for the Class B. I'll tell you, that's what we're doing here. That's how my show is basically broadcast. Basically, it is broadcast. Let's see here. Get my phone system ready for you guys if you want to call in. Let's see. That's about it. Other than that, what else is going on in your life, man? We got about 9 minutes here before I got 4 minutes before I call up my first guest here and get them on the phone. Hey, Flath, how do you like the new jacket here? Huh? Does it look like a leftover from a coal mine or what? Clean coal, baby. That's right. Really? One run across the highway near White Butte. Tell you what, Greg. Call me. You see one, you kind of have an idea, maybe even cut tracks in some mud. Let me know. I'll be more than happy to run over there. I'd like to know how many cats in North Dakota, because I talked to the South Dakota guy, and he's coming up with a number. They don't publish that number right away on the outside of the Black Hills, what they call prairie cats. But North Dakota, I have yet to find how many cats are taken in Zone 2, as they call it, which is on the other side of Highway 85, east side of 85. And it would be kind of neat to know that. Now, back to clean coal. Guess how all this is getting run right now? Coal energy. Clean coal energy. Absolutely. And oil. Not a single kilowatt on this place or in any of the businesses using any of this technology here is powered by wind. I guarantee. Not one. Coal, oil, and maybe a little whiskey. Who knows? Get this. I gave up for Lent. I gave it up, man. No whiskey, no beer, no alcohol. Like to say I'm feeling better. I'd like to say that. Oh, man. Anyway, anybody want to head up to heard about the one taking 2 miles? Yeah, I did hear about that one. I did hear about that one, Greg. Yeah. I did. And I guarantee if there's one cat, there's more. Guarantee that. Daylight savings time. Daylight saving time. Sorry, not savings. March 8th, 2 a.m. Okay. All right. Cool. That means we get to get up early. Yes. I'm excited. All right. I'm going to make my first phone call, get my first guest lined up. Thanks for chatting with me on YouTube until this starts here. It's like the easiest number ever. How do you get that cell phone number? Morning, Jim. Good to have KGFX in there. Hey, Ron Scott Bachmeyer. Hey, took a little bit. It picked up, and then it took about 10 seconds to transfer over. Oh, yeah. Really nice and clear. Cool. How's it going? 66 and no wind today. How's that feel? I'm dead serious. It's beautiful. It's going to be just absolutely good. It's a beautiful morning right now, man. I'm looking at Bullion Butte right now. Yeah. Really? Wow. Yeah. Well, hold on. I'm going to switch you over to the mixer board here, and we'll be on YouTube so we can chat on there for a little bit before we get started. Stand by. Let's see. Mr. Ness, can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Just checking levels and all that good stuff. We are live on YouTube. We're on NEST, North Dakota Petroleum Council, also one of the National Board of Directors for the Mule Deer Foundation. So there you go. People on YouTube know who I'm talking to now. So
well, Scott, it's got to be a nice spring for you to be calving and getting ready for summer work.
Not calving yet. I got probably 2.5 weeks yet.
Oh, do you really?
I'm one of these guys that I calve later, and I don't farm, so you know what?
Why not?
Yeah, I'm okay with that. That and I don't have facilities. A lot of people have barns and calving barns and all that.
Yeah.
We don't. So everything that we do is pasture calving and out in the open. So wait a little bit longer. Let the cows sit down in the deep canyons as long as I can here in the wintertime and try to bring them out next week and get prepped up and get ready to go. So yeah, I'm still on cruise control, winter cruise canyons as long as I can here in the wintertime and try to bring them out next week and get prepped up and get ready to go. So yeah, I'm still on cruise control, winter cruise control as ranchers go.
You haven't been able to make a snowball out there for several weeks, I suspect.
No, it's been pretty open winter for us, which is okay. We needed I'm kind of worried that it's going to be a dry summer, but the open winter sure helped out, saving a lot of hay for us.
Well, and it sure has been a great winter for the workers all across the Bakken and all the projects that are taking place, and that's a super big deal, actually.
Never thought of that. I mean, kind of a false sense of winter for some of these guys that might come up from the south and say, "Ah, everybody was saying how harsh the winters were. This isn't so bad."
Yeah, we had a little 2-week taste of real hard North Dakota winter there, at least in this part of the state. And, but boy, it's just been fantastic, and it's been good to get work done as well. So
yeah, they still are. How many units are still drilling? Is anybody still actively drilling right now?
Yeah, we got about 55 drilling rigs.
Okay.
So that equates to about 2.5 rigs wells a month per. So
okay.
Still somewhere around that 12 to 1,500 wells a year. That's pretty substantial.
Are they getting caught up on the fracking side?
Yeah, I believe they are, and I suspect we're going to see a little bit of a slowdown now with this continued de-escalation of price. So,
well, I seen it yesterday. Didn't it go up $1 yesterday? Didn't I see that or hear that?
Yeah, it was down $4.62 yesterday, Scott.
Oh, it was. Good grief.
Oil is just a shade over $41 a barrel, and then you take $8 or $9 off that right now because of some pipeline shortages, and for your North Dakota barrel, and so you're fetching about $34 or so for a good high quality world class barrel of Bakken oil. Yeah. That's not going to cut it.
I'm going to make sure that we bring that up again once we get on the air too with all the stations, because I'd like to ask the question. I was down in Texas and it was $1.99 a gallon for gas down there for 87, and even though the price of barrel goes down here in the western side of North and South Dakota, man, we don't really see the price of gas go down a whole lot. We don't see that big inflection like it does in some areas.
No, it's plain and simple supply and demand of how many refiner inputs there are. So it'll usually trickle up though a little bit, but some of those areas have just gotten Fargo's a whole different market. It has been for 20 plus years.
Yeah.
We get so many suppliers into that market. So we just don't have that many into Bowman, North Dakota.
Yeah. All right. Well, stand by. We got 30 seconds. I'm going to do a countdown for the stations here. We'll do an intro and get rocking and rolling. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Stand by here. Stations. 15 second on mark. 10. And 5 seconds. Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Saturday edition of Dakota Prairie Outdoors. My name is Scott Bachmeyer. I'm going to be your host here for the next hour, talking outdoor issues that may or may not concern where you're living at, but guess this, we're all in it together. We're in it to improve relations between hunters, landowners, and also the agricultural community and those out of touch with what farmers and ranchers are doing each and every day. Toll-free number to call in with your questions, comments, concerns. It's on my dime. Feel free to call in. 888-9-DAKOTA. That's 888-932-5682. And a big thanks to all the radio stations carrying the show this morning, everywhere from KGFX in Pierre, South Dakota, KOLY in Mobridge, South Dakota, K-Fire, KFYR Radio in Bismarck, KLTC in Dickinson, and KCJB, the first station I ever worked at, in Minot, North Dakota here. Thank you. Without their support to the agricultural and hunting communities, our stories here wouldn't be shared this morning. So again, thank you. My first guest here this morning is not only the president of the North Dakota Petroleum Council, he also sits as one of the national board of directors for the Mule Deer Foundation. Mr. Ron Ness, good morning. How is everything for you?
Well, good morning, Scott. I'm doing fantastic today, and certainly another great month for North Dakota wildlife. Certainly, we've had that open winter, and I think it's going to be looking forward to a good fall next year, maybe.
I think so. You know, and you're in Arizona right now. You're in Mesa, missing out on one of the most beautiful days right now to date this year in 2020 here at the ranch in the Badlands. 66 degrees and no wind today.
Seriously, 66.
Yeah, it's going to be beautiful, man. And guess what I get to do today? Guess the exciting thing, and I'm excited about this.
I've got no idea.
I get to be one of the ringmen at the DK Red Angus sale in Williston at Sitting Bull Auction. I mean, as soon as I get done on the radio right now, after this hour talk show, I have to get in the car and bust 4 hours up to Williston as fast as I can. So if Denver Ose, if you're listening, he's one of the highway patrolmen. Go east, get off of Highway 85 for me, man. I appreciate that. So, but yeah, I get to head up to the Bakken Patch here today, there, Mr. Ness. So, what can I expect? Traffic's still crazy up there? Or is it slowed down over the last few years?
Here's what's happening in the Bakken, Scott. We've got about 55 drilling rigs operating, which is pretty steady Eddie. You know, it's become somewhat of a manufacturing process up there. It's been obviously a great winter for construction and development, and those tens of thousands of workers that we have out there in the field every day. It's been great. But boy, we've had a pretty rough run here on the commodity prices, and I don't know what happened to the beef price and the other grain commodities this week, but we lost about 10% off the price of oil, and we were already down about 25% since the beginning of the year. So we're down about a 30% off of the price of oil. So for a world-class, top-quality barrel Bakken oil today, I think it was down $4.62 a barrel yesterday to about a little over $41. And then, of course, you take a discount because we've got a little more oil than we've got pipeline space for. So you take $8 or $9 off that. So you're fetching about $34 somewhere in that range today for a barrel of Bakken oil. And that is pretty tough economics. So
yeah, it is. So
I'm not sure what's going to happen.
You know, we talked about this just on the YouTube side before we got on air with all the radio stations. But why doesn't a person see the influx in the prices so much here in Western, North, and South Dakota as you do like on eastern sides of the states? And you explained that off air, but I'll have you do it on air now.
Yeah, Scott, you're talking about the price at the pump, and of course, at some point you start getting, you know, and there's always going to be somewhat of a lag just because of the number of suppliers that you have from a standpoint of diesel or gasoline into the North Dakota. And you go to Fargo, it's a totally different market because they've got, you know, product coming up via pipelines and from different directions. But what you're going to see in the western side of North Dakota is, you know, that will slowly lag down typically. And at some point, there's just not a lot of room on the other end of it to get much lower because you've got 43 cents for every gallon, of course, is from taxes. So that's off the top. And then you've got your basic commodity price. So, but I don't think at $2.25 or anything that it's a near a fraction of where we would be in this world today if we didn't have the Bakken and all of this great North Dakota and American energy. So it's a lot better than $4 or $5. So I don't hear many complaints at $2.30. So, but I think we are going to see if this price deck continues, we're going to see a fairly substantial impact to in investment and really that drilling rig count across the Bakken because that math some parts of the Bakken are world class and they're best in the class. But do you want to keep putting your dollar there and producing that oil at that price? And secondly, the math just doesn't work. And, the economics for some of these companies, you can look at their stock prices today and see that. So it's a pretty tough pretty tough period we're in right now, but that's we got to keep going on, and we know we'll do that. It'll come through with peaks and valleys, just like you've got with your egg prices there and your beef prices, Scott.
Yeah, it's funny how you say that, because the market's definitely went down on the feeder cattle here the last few days here, reflecting. How much does politics play a factor in this? I mean, you're looking at on the one side, pro coal and pro oil and all that, and then the other side, they're saying we're going to get rid of coal and try to no more pipelines and all that, the Green New Deal type of thing. How much does that play a factor going into an election year on the price of a barrel of oil?
Well, Scott, unfortunately, I think that's have an impact on all of us. And as you said at the start of your program, it doesn't matter whether it's energy or agriculture. Those folks from consuming states versus producing states, it is getting to be kind of almost a battle, almost consuming states versus producing states. And I think it does have an impact on the prices. It has an impact on the finances and the ability of Wall Street and others to want to invest into agriculture and energy. And so let's, unfortunately, I think it's having a bigger impact than we would want. But certainly this coronavirus right now is really impacting demand.
Isn't that something, how fear mongering just takes over? Even in the stores where, they're saying that they're out of toilet paper and water, and I can't believe that. We've lived through some pretty epidemic things. Mad cow disease was going to end the world too. So, but hey, let's talk quick. I was going to talk about, you're picking up in the patch. You're a ditch cleaning program up in the patch. Talk a little bit about that before we go into break here.
We started this program back in 2012 when Williston was Crazyville, if you recall, and I was up there talking to the mayor, Wilson, and I asked him, what's one thing we could do? And he says, Ron, we hate all the garbage. And that was after that bad winter of 2011. And so we started a program called Pick Up the Patch, and hopefully you've seen it in your community. And now it's a program that's pretty much run by the communities and the oil and gas companies and others across Western North Dakota. It's called Pick Up the Patch. And with that nice weather, we'll be getting out there, but it's really a ditch cleanup program. And we've picked up thousands and thousands of bags of garbage, and we try and get those patch ditches cleaned up. So we encourage people who are listening out there, if their company wants to take a stretch of highway to, make it fun and treat your employees or your friends and bring them out and, take some pictures and pick up the patch. That's what it's all about.
And that's such an important thing. I'm going to check it out here on my drive. I'm driving from one end of the patch, possibly not quite as far north as I can today, but I'm definitely going to check that out here. Ron, stick with us here. We're up against our first break. Make sure to keep here on the phone here. We're going to talk more about not only North Dakota Petroleum Council, but a chance here. The Mule Deer Foundation, $400,000 worth of projects in the last couple of years. We'll talk about that, and tree planting, kind of important here, especially out here in the Badlands where we live too. We'll have more coming up your way. You're listening KLTC Dickinson, KFYR in Bismarck, KCJB in Minot, KOLY in Mobridge, also KGFX in the capital city, Pierre, South Dakota. Back after these messages.
From big loans to small personal loans, you can bring your dreams into focus with Dakota Community Bank and Trust. We make getting a business or a personal loan so simple, you'll want to work with us time and time again. With competitive rates, we offer personal, ag, farm, business and commercial loans, home loans, and more. Stop into your local Dakota Community Bank and Trust for a quality, hometown community banking experience we pride ourselves in. Equal housing lender and member FDIC.
At Dakota Community Bank and Trust, that's what we do.
The DK Red Angus production sale is coming to town on Saturday, March 7th at 2 p.m. Central Time. Sitting Bull Auction, Williston, North Dakota. Offering 57 purebred Red Angus bulls, 2 Red Angus Charolais composite bulls, 5 Red Angus Simmental composite bulls, 50 registered Red Angus yearling heifers, and 10 Red Angus commercial yearling heifers. With over 27 years in the Red Angus business and in the seed stock business for over 40 years, you can trust the Kiefler family. Join us on Saturday, March 7th, 2 p.m. Central Time at Sitting Bull Auction, Williston, North Dakota.
Hi, this is Andy Murdoch with Piper's Auctioneers, inviting you to any one of these exceptional upcoming farm retirement equipment auctions featuring late model John Deere R-Series 4-wheel drive and track tractors, a 2019 DB60 corn planter, and more in Starbuck, Minnesota on March 12th. Then on March 21st and March 26th, Piper's will be offering an entire fleet of late model Case IH sprayers, quad tracks, 9230 combines, a Claas 750 combine, Challenger Series tractors, trucks, trailers, and more near Richardson in New England, North Dakota. For online bidding and complete details, log on to pipers.com.
Cattle producers, it's time for the Schriefer Red Angus production sale. Thursday, March 12th, 1 p.m. Stockman's Livestock, Dickinson, North Dakota. Selling 25 two-year-old bulls and 35 commercial open heifers. Videos and information can be found online at SchrieferRedAngus.com. Docile dispositions and bulls anybody can use. Make sure you attend the Schriefer Red Angus annual production sale. Thursday, March 12th, 1 p.m. at Stockman's Livestock, Dickinson, North Dakota.
We want amazing innovations to drive progress for generations. We want jobs and careers for generations. We want American energy production that protects our land and the wildlife for generations. Today, the advanced technologies deployed by the North Dakota oil and gas producers are making that happen. And with the promise of emerging technologies, the energy of North Dakota has a very bright future for generations to come. This message is brought to you by the North Dakota Petroleum Council. To learn more, visit energyofnorthdakota.com.
Hey folks, join me on Saturday, March 7th, 2 p.m. Central Time at Sitting Bull Auction, Williston, North Dakota for the DK Red Angus production sale. 57 purebred Red Angus bulls offering sons of Rolling Deep 660, Thunder 637, Beavers, CL Atomic, and Top Notch 15, and many more. All bulls carcass ultrasounded and free delivery up to 500 miles. More information at dkredangus.net. Join the Kiefler family on Saturday, March 7th, 2 p.m. Central Time. Sitting Bull Auction, Williston, North Dakota.
Looking for a home loan? Dakota Community Bank and Trust has an experienced team of home loan professionals ready to put their services to work for you. We've been recognized statewide multiple times as a champion of affordable housing for mortgage lending. Therefore, we believe we are the best place to get a mortgage. Stop into your local branch or visit dakotacommunitybank.com to find out what their mortgage team can do for you. That's dakotacommunitybank.com. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
At Dakota Community Bank and Trust, that's what we do.
If you're looking for bulls for the rancher, cattleman, and cowboy alike, you need to be at Stockman's Livestock for the Schriefer Red Angus production sale. Join me at 1 p.m. March 12th at Stockman's Livestock as a family operation for over 30 years sells 25 two-year-old Red Angus bulls and 35 commercial open heifers. You can find videos and more information on their website at SchrieferRedAngus.com. Come on in to Stockman's Livestock Thursday, March 12th, 1 p.m. Mountain Time for the Schriefer Red Angus annual production sale.
Hi, this is Andy Murdoch with Piper's Auctioneers, inviting you to any one of these exceptional upcoming farm retirement equipment auctions featuring late model John Deere R-Series 4-wheel drive and track tractors, a 2019 DB60 corn planter, and more in Starbuck, Minnesota on March 12th. Then on March 21st and March 26th, Piper's will be offering an entire fleet of late model Case IH sprayers, quad tracks, 9230 combines, a Claas 750 combine, Challenger Series tractors, trucks, trailers, and more near Richardson in New England, North Dakota. For online bidding and complete details, log on to pipers.com.
All right, station's coming back in 15 seconds on Mark.
When that time comes, I hope you're still around. I hope you're still around.
Welcome back, everybody. Saturday edition of Dakota Prairie Outdoors, being led in here by the one, the only, Mr. Benny Paulson. Sorry, you can see his bull riding anywhere on YouTube right now, even in rap videos. Got to talk to him a little bit before. My guest is Ron Ness, president of the North Dakota Petroleum Council, and also on the board of directors of the Mule Deer Foundation. First, very quick here before we talk, Ron, about the mule deer side of things. If you said if anybody knows of a patch of highway anywhere along that, get in contact with you or somebody, right?
Yeah, give us a shout, and we will try and hook up with the, either the community up in that area or some of the operators or the service companies up there, and try and get that patch of highway picked up, because that's what it's all about. So they can call the North Dakota Petroleum Council, and we will get that area on the list if it's an area that you think is in dire need of some highway cleanup.
You bet. Now, since we're covering both North and South Dakota here today, and I know Marshall is in charge of the South Dakota Regional Director as well. They have some events coming up. Brandon, South Dakota on April 3rd. April 24th is Spearfish. May 1st is Rapid City and Hot Springs on September 26th. But on the North Dakota side, you want to talk about a lot of events coming up. Minot on March 7th. March 13th is Watford City. March 18th is Grand Forks. March 19th is West Fargo. April 15th, Jamestown, and goes Williston, Elgin, Dickinson after that. I mean, there's just a lot of them going on here. And being part of that, you said something about Gunapalooza. What's that all about?
Well, Marshall Johnson, of course, does an incredible job with the Mule Deer Foundation. And these Gunapaloozas are really just kind of quick hitting events, 2 hours, generally hosted at a tavern or something. Just a whole bunch of gun raffles, generally some refreshments involved. You show up, you make your place your bets on a bunch of gun auctions and raffles and different things, and people come in droves, and they have really become popular across the entire country. And Marshall started them right here in North Dakota. So, Watford City on the 18th of March, give that one a chance. And of course, great banquets in Minot, Grand Forks, Elgin, Dickinson, Williston. Those are big events. But these Gunapaloozas are, I think, the thing of the future. They're fast, and they're great events. People get to win some guns, and you raise some money. The North Dakota Mule Deer Foundation the past 2 years, almost $400,000 of projects on the ground, and we just helped the Mule Deer Foundation with the Petroleum Council and our members up in Williston just a few weeks ago. There was a big mess up there left from some of the flooding up there. So the Muddy Buck chapter up there, along with a bunch of the oil and gas companies, went out and cleaned up all of the debris and all of the big trees, and put that project together in a very short period of time. It was a big problem, and got that done. Of course, we did a big sheep wire fence up on Bill Lohman's ranch last summer. Got another project planned this summer. So doing a lot of really quality habitat projects. And one of the things and why the Petroleum Council has been so involved is our employees out there, Scott, just like you and I, they are hunters and conservationists, and these are just great team building programs. They're great to get outdoors, and we've got that equipment at our disposal, so it can save tens of thousands of dollars. And the projects that we've done have just been great, and so we're very proud to be affiliated with the Mule Deer Foundation and help and support these wildlife projects.
Another big thing coming up, that mule deer tag is one of the coveted tags that mule deer and bighorn sheep. And I think the mule deer one is just going crazy each and every year. It gets built up more and more.
Well, what's it take you to draw a mule deer tag out there in the quality 6, 7, 8 years? So there should be coming in your mailboxes. I think if you've been a past applicant for a deer license, you're going to get a chance to apply for the statewide mule deer tag, and you can hunt any unit. And this is a grand prize. And I was down in Salt Lake at the big deer hunt expo, and they sell in most states. They sell these tags, and it's not uncommon down there for a statewide Arizona mule deer tag or a statewide Utah mule deer tag. It might go for $140,000 to $170,000.
Yeah.
So I think we can get it here for like $10 or whatever. So.
Yeah, the raffle's a little cheaper than going that way, I guess. But yeah. Hey, one of the big things I personally think is planting trees. And granted, out here at the ranch we have quite a few, especially a lot of cedar trees and pines here around the ranch. But up on the homestead here, if I'm looking at putting in some trees to kind of put some shelter belts or anything, do you have programs on that? I know we talked about this last year.
Scott, we started a program in cooperation with the North Dakota Outdoor Heritage Fund a few years ago, and we just decided that same thing. We can help supplement the tree planting done by the soil conservation units and others. And what we have found is that people like yourself, there's a lot of interest out there and want to plant trees. And we make it the landowner's project. And we're going to plant about 10,000 trees this spring. We've planted about 80,000 in the past 2 years. So we're going to be approaching 100,000 trees in 3 years. And we're maxed out on projects this year. And hopefully we'll continue this program going forward. But we'll we'll be putting information out there in order when people can apply for next year, and we'll want to get that going on this summer. We've already got some on a waiting list, but planting trees, I think, as you know, as native North Dakotans, we know most of the trees we've got, they were planted, and we've got to continue to add to that habitat. It's been a fun program, again, one in which you can get your friends together and plant trees, or in some cases, if you've got a project out in the Bakken region, we can get companies to let their employees come and help. So it's been a great program, and also kind of starting to snoop around, look for somebody else that's interested in being the tree planter, because we've worn our 2 tree planters down a little bit. So we need somebody else that might be interested in becoming one of the habitat specialists and out there, you know, bringing the equipment out. And still, it's the landowner's project, but kind of setting everything up and helping that landowner with the equipment and get it going. So we're going to maybe start snooping around, trying to find somebody else out in more out western North Dakota that wants to be part of this. So great project, though.
Do you do a percentage? I know like some do a 80-20% cost share, basically, that the landowner has to put in. What's your guys's?
We basically we provide the trees, and we will provide the planter and the equipment, and then a cost share on the fabric if you're going to use fabric. And the landowner is really responsible for the labor, the tractor, and the very basic things. So it's obviously a very economically incentivized program for the landowner to want to put these trees in, and we require them to be habitat type projects, and we will help with some parks and things like that. But primarily, we want blocks of trees or multiple rows. So, but it's been fantastic, and hopefully we've got another good tree planting year coming along here with some moisture.
Yeah, should be able to get started nice. Now, Big Williston, the Williston Basin Petroleum Conference coming up in May here, and that's usually kind of your big kickoff.
Yeah, Scott, that's a huge event, and we've had a long history of that every other year in Bismarck, and it's a monster event, and we expect 2,000 to 3,000 people again this year. Our trade show is we've got some exhibit booths left, but it's going to be sold out, and we got some fantastic. We got a lot of fantastic speakers already, but we got a few more in our pocket that we're going to be announcing over the next several weeks and months, and so it's a good event if anybody's interested in finding out a little bit more or making some connections, business connections. Everybody in the Bakken attends this thing, and all the operators and the service companies and people from the communities to know what's going to be happening. And we got a great talk coming from Denbury Resources, Scott, down in Bowman County. They're going to be putting CO2 back into Cedar Hills Field, which is just a little south of you. And I think that's really exciting to the community of Bowman, because there's going to create some kind of an economic boost down there. And that old Cedar Hills Field has still got a lot of oil left in it. And now, hopefully we're going to see some CO2 put in that field, and then not too long out in the future here, and resurrect some of that oil production down there.
Well, as we're up against the clock, give us some information. How can we get in touch with you, trees, or information about Petroleum Council, or getting any of this stuff rolling?
North Dakota Petroleum Council, and we've got a North Dakota Petroleum Foundation, which we do all of these outreach programs under, but 701-223-6380, or just Google us at the North Dakota Petroleum Council, and we'll get back to you with whatever your question might be.
Ron, I appreciate you taking time on a Saturday. Have fun down there in sunny Arizona, man. Thank you.
Thanks, Scott.
You bet. Ron Ness, North Dakota Petroleum Council. Hey, we're going to come back more on the second part 2 of the Moose Talk. That's right. We're going to be talking about the issue that came up here. I think it was about a month ago. Coming back next.
From big loans to small personal loans, you can bring your dreams into focus with Dakota Community Bank and Trust. We make getting a business or a personal loan so simple, you'll want to work with us time and time again. With competitive rates, we offer personal, ag, farm, business and commercial loans, home loans, and more. Stop into your local Dakota Community Bank and Trust for a quality, hometown community banking experience we pride ourselves in. Equal housing lender and member FDIC.
At Dakota Community Bank and Trust, that's what we do.
The DK Red Angus production sale is coming to town on Saturday, March 7th at 2 p.m. Central Time, Sitting Bull Auction, Williston, North Dakota. Offering 57 purebred Red Angus bulls, 2 Red Angus Charolais composite bulls, 5 Red Angus Simmental composite bulls, 50 registered Red Angus yearling heifers, and 10 Red Angus commercial yearling heifers. With over 27 years in the Red Angus business and in the seed stock business for over 40 years, you can trust the Kiefler family. Join us on Saturday, March 7th, 2 p.m. Central Time at Sitting Bull Auction, Williston, North Dakota.
Hi, this is Andy Murdoch with Piper's Auctioneers, inviting you to any one of these exceptional upcoming farm retirement equipment auctions featuring late model John Deere R-Series 4-wheel drive and track tractors, a 2019 DB60 corn planter, and more in Starbuck, Minnesota on March 12th. Then on March 21st and March 26th, Piper's will be offering an entire fleet of late model Case IH sprayers, quad tracks, 9230 combines, a Claas 750 combine, Challenger Series tractors, trucks, trailers, and more near Richardson in New England, North Dakota. For online bidding and complete details, log on to Pipers.com.
Cattle producers, it's time for the Schriefer Red Angus production sale. Thursday, March 12th, 1 p.m. Stockman's Livestock, Dickinson, North Dakota. Selling 25 2-year-old bulls and 35 commercial open heifers. Videos and information can be found online at SchrieferRedAngus.com. Docile dispositions and bulls anybody can use. Make sure you attend the Schriefer Red Angus annual production sale. Thursday, March 12th, 1 p.m. at Stockman's Livestock, Dickinson, North Dakota.
We want amazing innovations to drive progress for generations. We want jobs and careers for generations. We want American energy production that protects our land and the wildlife for generations. Today, the advanced technologies deployed by the North Dakota oil and gas producers are making that happen. And with the promise of emerging technologies, the energy of North Dakota has a very bright future for generations to come. This message is brought to you by the North Dakota Petroleum Council. To learn more, visit energyofnorthdakota.com.
Hey folks, join me on Saturday, March 7th, 2 p.m. Central Time at Sitting Bull Auction, Williston, North Dakota for the DK Red Angus production sale. 57 purebred Red Angus bulls offering sons of Rolling Deep 660, Thunder 637, Beavers, CL Atomic, and Top Notch 15, and many more. All bulls carcass ultrasounded and free delivery up to 500 miles. More information at dkredangus.net. Join the Kiefler family on Saturday, March 7th, 2 p.m. Central Time, Sitting Bull Auction, Williston, North Dakota.
Looking for a home loan? Dakota Community Bank and Trust has an experienced team of home loan professionals ready to put their services to work for you. We've been recognized statewide multiple times as a champion of affordable housing for mortgage lending. Therefore, we believe we are the best place to get a mortgage. Stop into your local branch or visit dakotacommunitybank.com to find out what their mortgage team can do for you. That's dakotacommunitybank.com. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
At Dakota Community Bank and Trust, that's what we do.
If you're looking for bulls for the rancher, cattleman, and cowboy alike, you need to be at Stockman's Livestock for the Schriefer Red Angus production sale. Join me at 1 p.m. March 12th at Stockman's Livestock as a family operation for over 30 years sells 25 2-year-old Red Angus bulls and 35 commercial open heifers. You can find videos and more information on their website at SchrieferRedAngus.com. Come on in to Stockman's Livestock Thursday, March 12th, 1 p.m. Mountain Time for the Schriefer Red Angus annual production sale.
Hi, this is Andy Murdoch with Piper's Auctioneers, inviting you to any one of these exceptional upcoming farm retirement equipment auctions featuring late model John Deere R-Series 4-wheel drive and track tractors, a 2019 DB60 corn planter, and more in Starbuck, Minnesota on March 12th. Then on March 21st and March 26th, Piper's will be offering an entire fleet of late model Case IH sprayers, quad tracks, 9230 combines, a Claas 750 combine, Challenger Series tractors, trucks, trailers, and more near Richardson in New England, North Dakota. For online bidding and complete details, log on to Pipers.com.
15 seconds, stations 15 seconds.
When that time comes, I hope you're still around. I hope you're still around.
Welcome back, everybody, as we continue Saturday's edition of Dakota Prairie Outdoors. All across the Dakota Territory, great stations like KGFX, Pierre, South Dakota, KOLY, Mobridge, South Dakota, K-Fire in Bismarck, KCJB in Minot, and KLTC in the western side of Dickinson, North Dakota. My second hour guest is Mr. Daryl Lease. Good morning. How you doing, Daryl?
I'm doing well, Scott. I'm talking to you from sunny Arizona today.
What is up? I just got off the phone with Ron Ness. He was on the first half, and he's in Arizona. What's going on? Are you a snowbird? Are you that old already?
No, yeah.
Seriously?
I am down here judging livestock shows this
Okay.
weekend in Tucson. So I get to judge pigs today and lambs and goats tomorrow, and then I got to go back home to the frozen tundra. But it sounds like it's supposed to be pretty nice up there
Frozen
today.
tundra, 66 and no wind here at the ranch today.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
that.
Of course, you guys are in the banana belt of North Dakota over there.
We are. What we get here, it's like we get the banana belt that goes all the way down through Rapid City. We don't get as warm as Rapid City does, but we have that we're in that range, I should say. So
Yep.
I think you said Tucson. I think you need to pronounce it Tucson. I believe that's how it's pronounced down there in the home areas. That way you can fit in. You're mispronouncing.
I can fit in. Yeah, I know. It's one of those things. I guess I'll leave it at that.
So what's been happening? Last time you and I talked, we touched on a story about somebody had a moose issue in his pasture or his pens or something. Explain that story again, because we didn't have many of the details, and now you say you have more of the details. And I want to continue this because I got a few text messages saying, how come you didn't finish the story? And the reason is we have to wait until we get the full story, and I think you have it now, don't you?
Yeah.
All right.
So after playing phone tag with the farmer up there and trying to figure out what went on, because the stories get made better always as you hear them down the line. So I wanted to talk directly to the farmer rancher up there and get what really happened. And
we'll start from the beginning here, so we can remind people maybe that didn't listen the first time.
Okay, so up there in Rolette County, up along the northern border, a farm family up there had some cattle in the lot already in November. It was, believe it was November 13th, give or take a day there, but I think 13th was the day that they had a moose come into their corral, and the son went down to feed the cattle, and he called his dad and said, "Dad, we got an issue down here. We got a moose in the pen, a bull moose in the pen, and he's chasing the heifers around." Now they had heifers in there, and they had a few bulls in there, and just because they didn't have everything sorted out completely yet, and so they but this moose was chasing these heifers around, and his dad goes, "Oh, okay, come down there." And so he went down there, and when he got there, the bull moose and one of his bulls were facing off. They were in that blowing snot at each other, pawing at the ground about 15, 20 feet away from each other, ready to get it on mode.
Right.
Okay. We all know how expensive bulls are nowadays.
We were just talking about that before we got on air. Yeah.
Right. And regardless of expense, remember this, people. It's private property, and we have the right to protect our private property, except when it comes to the game and fish. Obviously, they have different ideas. But to finish this story, they see that. Okay. They got to make a decision. Do we wait an hour if we call the game warden and say, "Hey, we got a bull moose in here causing issues and it's facing down"? And in the meantime, these two, start to get, nasty with each other. They butt heads, maybe break the neck of the bull, maybe, lame the bull, or, maybe both the moose and the bull get hurt.
Yeah.
So we made a decision. He shot the moose, which I think most ranchers would do at that point.
No question.
Because they're protecting their private property.
Yeah. So I'm going to play devil's advocate. Did they contact anybody at the Game and Fish beforehand about this or not?
No.
Okay.
Because it happened so fast.
Okay.
And that's the part that we weren't clear on going into it. Right. Why we didn't complete the story last time. Okay. So they do that. However, the contact came immediately after they shot it. They called the Game and Fish, thought they were doing the right thing, and called the game warden and said, "Hey, we had a bull moose in our corral. He was chasing the heifers around. He was facing off with our one of our herd bulls. We put him down. We shot him. Would you like to come out here?" So 45 minutes later, the game warden shows up. Gets there, has a discussion with the farmer rancher, and started kind of, like many game wardens can do, act like they're king instead of, an official. And so really started, where you planning, leading questions, were you planning to eat this thing? And he's like, no. He said, if I wanted to eat something, I got 130 prime Angus cattle in the pen. If I want to eat something, I want to eat one of them, not your moose, and started, I don't know the whole discussion that went on between the two of them, but the back and forth that goes on.
Right.
The one thing that the farmer was really surprised about is he never asked, well, where do you think this moose got into the corral at? Never, the investigative stuff that you would think would happen if there's going to be charges, kind of those kind of pertinent questions instead of the leading questions. If the guy called you and the moose is laying there dead and they're not skinning it out, do you think they're planning on eating it? Really? Those kind of leading questions to get them to say something, to get them to trip up and say something that's incriminating when there isn't nothing to be incriminating. Right.
Right.
And so he goes, the farmer eventually says, well, do you want me to help load it? Yeah. I got a winch. I'll help load it. Well, I don't know if he didn't know how to run his winch or it wasn't working. He had to go back and ask the farmer to then help him load it. So the farmer had their loader, helped him load it in the back of the pickup. And then the guy proceeded to say, well, I want to take your gun and, you shot a moose out of season and yada, yada, yada. He goes, wait a minute, I didn't do anything wrong here. I'm protecting my private property. It wasn't like I drove down the road and shot him out of the swamp up here.
Right.
And he's like, I didn't do anything wrong. He said, well, we got to fill this paper out. We need a statement. And he looks at that paper and, it's like, okay, this is legal stuff now. He goes,
right.
I'm not filling this out. Why don't you go talk to your supervisor? And if he thinks I still need to fill one of these out, then I'm going to go to an attorney to fill this out because I'm not going to answer anything because this looks like you're trying to set me up on a case and a charge here. And he refused to fill it out, and which I think most of us would do, Scott. I don't think there's any of us that would write anything down at that point if it looks like they're trying to railroad you into a charge. And so they went and never heard anything. Never heard anything for almost a month. This is where this really gets concerning to me. Never received a ticket in the mail stating that he was going to be charged. Nothing. Received a letter to appear from the state's attorney on charges of shooting a moose out of season.
A month later. Okay.
Somewhere between 3 and 4 weeks. And the reason you don't know exactly what day it showed up in the mailbox is because at that time they were gone on a little family getaway for 5 or 6 days. So it could have come at the front of 5 or 6 days, which would have been only 3 weeks. Or it could have come right when they, the day before, which would have been on the back end closer to 4 weeks. So somewhere between 3 and 4 weeks. Okay. And he's like, what in the world? $2,500 fine, I think is what it was. And he had to appear, and he said, no, I'm not pleading. This is the thing that they're famous for. They want to plea you down, get you to commit to saying you're guilty on a plea deal. It's one of them to me. And I'm going to say something that's going to make, if you live next to a game and fish employee right now, I'm going to say something. Listen, their heads might explode. Okay.
Well, they're listening here, Daryl. So they are.
Yep.
They're with you.
Yep. So if you're a neighbor to one of them, listen for an explosion in the house next door to you. They believe they are the supreme law of the land. They believe that they put a feather in their hat if they can get any kind of admission on any kind of thing, even if it's not actual. But they get people to do this sometimes just to get them off their back. This guy didn't stand for that. He's going to court, I believe it's sometime in June, to fight this because all he was doing was protecting his private property. If the Game and Fish doesn't have enough sense to use common sense when they're out here working, especially with landowners, and I'm going to say something to sportsmen out there. All of you sportsmen out there that are fighting with landowners now and don't understand that we should be able to just have our inherent private property rights by not having to post it. The Game and Fish is your biggest enemy when they do things like this, of locking up the land and not allowing access, period. Because these folks up there don't post their land, but I wouldn't be surprised if it isn't locked up come this fall because of actions like this by the Game and Fish. And I am saying that it's time that landowners and sportsmen alike take a stand against the heavy hand, the overreach, the totalitarian thought process of the North Dakota Game and Fish. Because this story, when I shared just the excerpts of it last time, Scott, and I gave out my cell phone number on your show, I had multiple calls with people that had stories of overreach from the Game and Fish in the last year and a half. And it has to stop. It has to stop now. And if the legislators out there don't want to start putting their foot down, and the sheriff's departments and the state's attorneys don't want to start telling the Game and Fish, you know what? No, this is our county. We don't put up with this stuff. Then the people better start speaking up and making sure that it happens, and it needs to happen now.
So what is the rule on protecting private property rights right now? Is there a century code in the state legislature at that point?
Well, and that's what's being researched.
Okay.
The guy hired an attorney. The attorney is obviously looking through. Did he shoot a moose out of season? Yes, he did.
Right.
Did he shoot it with the intent to use? Did he shoot a trophy moose to, hang in a shop? No, he shot it with the intent to protect his private property, protect the living for his family. And if we don't put people first, then we aren't who we were intended to be in this country when it was founded, when our founding documents over 240 years ago were signed. Then we have left the intentions of the founding fathers, and that's a sad day if we can't protect our private property.
Yeah. My question is to you, Daryl, what is to gain out of this on either side? I guess you could say, I know on the farmer and rancher side here, but what would be the gain on the other side?
I would like to know what the gain on the other is.
Because it just doesn't make sense to me that they would go this far and spend this much of our taxpayer money if there wasn't more. You know what I mean? I'm trying to process this as there's got to be more to it, isn't there?
Well, and so a lot of times it's just the totalitarian thought. They're going to hate I say that word, but that's what it is. It's the totalitarian, I'm the king, and I'm going to prove to you I'm the king kind of thought that we have going on in the Game and Fish right now. I think the governor needs to rein in his cabinet. That's part of the governor's cabinet. And it's time he reins them in and slaps them down and goes, guys, this can't happen. People come first. People's livelihoods come first. And that is absolutely 100% the way it needs to be. And so the gain, I don't know. I've talked with some good friends that I have on different wildlife organizations out there, Scott, this last few weeks about this deal. I talked again with them here after I got the details, and they're just like, this is not helping us. This is not helping us. This is, and it's people that are friends with the folks at the Game and Fish, and they go, I don't understand, what's the end game here? What they ask the same thing. What is there to stand to gain? And here's the problem. So if you have, let's say it was a new game warden, okay? And, sometimes enforcement officers, when they're new, they like to thump their chest and prove that they're the authority, okay? There's the right way to do that, and obviously then there's this way to do it, which isn't. But let's say that's the case. Where's the supervisor in this situation going, no, we don't need to go here? Where is the supervision from the experienced people that should say at that point, you know what? Because here's a point that was made to me by somebody. Mr. Bullwinkle that was in that pen there that got shot made a bad decision, just as if he would made a bad decision to stand in the middle of the highway and get hit. There's going to be a certain number of wildlife die because they make bad decisions. Because you know what? They don't have the power to reason because they're animals. And so therefore, the other statement that was really odd is this guy asked me, he said, well, if I'd have let this go on and waited for you, and he broke my bull's neck in the meantime, and I lost that bull, were you going to pay me $5,000 to $10,000 for that bolt?
No.
And the game warden goes, no, that's beyond our control. He says, exactly. That's why I took control of the situation.
So
that's the key.
So what scares me about this story, first off, I would, how many other stories are like this out there that we don't know about? And it'd be kind of nice, not only that, but on a reporting side of things, you know, you always hear about the person that gets charged for, you know, shooting a deer out of season, or, you know, jumping a fence and doing this or whatever. You always see those publications come out, but you never hear on the other side if they're proven wrong either. So it's text comes in. It says it's not the state's attorney's decision to prosecute or not. Or is it not the state's attorney's decision to prosecute or not? So I don't know about that.
Yeah, they can within some reason, and that's the other thing that we're trying to find out also, what the authority is for them to say no, there's no case here. There is some authority there.
Okay.
Granted that. So I don't know, that line gets really fuzzy on these deals, and that's what we gotta maybe make more clear too.
You know what's scary on this side now? Now I'm worried. Okay, because calving season. What if mountain lion season's closed up and I see a cat, you know, messing with my herd? According to the rules, it says I have every right to protect my herd. But do I? I don't know if I do. Now I'm. You got me worried. Now I'm not going to do anything.
Well, and so that's what this guy said. He says, you know what? Here's really the egregious thing in this whole deal. I mean, there's a lot of egregiousness in there, but this is what's really, really bad, Scott. I think, and what we got to focus on here. This gentleman did what he thought was right by calling the Game and Fish, saying, "Hey, I had an issue.
Right.
Here's how I handled it. He's laying here. Would you want to come out? Yada yada yada." He goes, "I am receiving the same charge that I would have if I'd have just drugged the thing over the hill and they found out 4 days later I did it."
Right.
Here was a man. He says, because I like wildlife. I like seeing them out there. I like hunting. I like, you know, but he said, I'm receiving the same charge. He said, if I'd have tried to hide it, I'm receiving the same charge for what I thought. Because he said, here's honestly what I thought they would do. I thought maybe they would take it and they would find a processor that would cut it up and donate the meat so it didn't go to waste. You know, number one.
Right.
And number two, he said, isn't this what we're supposed to do? Try and do the right thing? Even if we have a situation come up, I thought we were supposed to be able to have a relationship with those in government, those that are the authority on quote unquote this public interest of these animals. Mm-hmm. But he goes, you really can't trust anyone on this, can you?
So
and that's the sad thing.
Why haven't we seen anything in the news about this? I mean, why is it such a hush-hush deal?
Well, you're hearing about it now, buddy.
Yeah, the breaking story is right here, right now.
You're hearing about it now. And that's the thing. You know, there's been people that have offered this family financial help to pay for the legal bill. I don't think there's a snowball's chance. Yeah. I don't think there's a snowball's chance that a judge or jury, whichever, I think it's going to go to jury, will convict him of this. Okay. But the fact of the matter is he's going to spend $3,000 to $5,000, maybe up to $8,000 defending himself.
Right.
Defending himself over something he shouldn't have to defend himself over. And he's turned down the aid. He said, you know what? No. He said, I'm going down this path. But he says, what I want, Daryl, he says, is I want organizations like yours at Farm Bureau to spread this message. I want this message to get out. I want you to track this. I want you to have other people hopefully get a hold of you and tell you of these things. And maybe we can change something in the legislature of how these things are handled.
Daryl, we're up against the clock, man. Sorry I have to cut you off, but thank you for coming in and giving it. And if you have any updates, feel free to give me a call anytime. Okay, man?
Absolutely.
All right. Stay on the line here for me. I'll talk to you in a little bit. Thanks for tuning in. Dakota Prairie Outdoors Saturday edition. Find me at dakotaprairieoutdoors.com or my YouTube channel. Subscribe. Appreciate it. Have a good weekend. Thank you. All right, Daryl, we are still live on the YouTube side of things here. So a question comes in. It's a text message. I'm not sure who this is from. It says, let me get it opened up here. It says, all the authority lies with state's attorney. As law enforcement, you enforce the law and write the ticket. The state's attorney then looks at the case and makes the decision. So the state's attorney is evidently making more of a case out of this than they should. Who's the state's attorney?
I don't know who the state's attorney is, but you've got to understand too that that's some of the problem we got going on here is we don't don't have counties that understand fully that they have the authority not to feel the pressure from the state agency to do this. So how much pressure? Because Scott, you and I talked about this when we were off air. There's a lot of pressures that get put on by that totalitarian thought process of the Game and Fish and other agencies in this state. Let's be honest, they're not alone in this. They come in and put the pressure on and manipulate the system and put so much pressure on to do these that, maybe the state's attorney took this on knowing that they couldn't win it to maybe set precedent too. That could be something too.
Right. That's true. Still being on YouTube right now, Darren says, I hope he sues back for harassment. I don't know if you can do that for harassment. Could you?
See, and that's the problem. That the Game and Fish is so insulated and protected. That's another question I think that needs to be looked into. I think there needs to be a mechanism that if there is false allegations and if there is, egregious and, frivolous charges brought, that you should have a right back for your attorney's fees. I think that's something that we need to look at. You know what? That would really change the attitude of some of these agencies pushing things. I
agree. I mean, if you go and you win that battle, that's the thing though, is the agency, it's our money that's going to be paying this back. Our tax money is going to court against the guy.
Here's the thing. And so this farmer asked me, he says, Daryl, who pays this bill? I said, you guys do in that county as taxpayers.
Yeah.
You're paying that bill as taxpayers in that county. The Game and Fish has no skin in the game other than if they want to put that game warden on the stand, his hours there, but they're paying him that day anyway.
Right.
And so the Game and Fish can do these things around the state without any responsibility of a price tag. It all falls on the local people. The local people, the taxpayer, should be upset with that. That's your property taxes paying for this egregious overreach.
Good grief. Yeah. Well, I appreciate you coming on, man, and getting some light to the story. I would love it. I mean, we have a phone call coming in here. Let's see here. They're watching on. Welcome to the program. Are you calling in via YouTube watching here?
No, I'm listening on the radio.
Okay. We're still on YouTube right now, so we're still Daryl's still with us. So just to let you know, but this is go ahead and what's on your mind here?
Well, about 20 years, 25 years, I don't remember what date. I had one of them big moose come up alongside me when I was mowing hay with my 70. And I tell you what, I was scared as all heck, So I'm with this farmer. You got to respect him.
I agree. Thank you for the call. Appreciate you calling in, man. Thank you so much. Where are you calling from?
Glenham, South Dakota.
Excellent. Have yourself a great weekend, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, you too.
You bet. Thank you. So
you're becoming a worldwide phenomenon, Scott. I mean, I'm telling you, are you like the 7th or 8th or 9th wonder? I don't know where we're at on the wonders of the world, but I mean, are you that or what?
I don't think there's enough digits to see how far down the list I am on that. Because you got to remember, Doug Lear, that works for the Game and Fish, is also employed by KFGO and Joel Heitkamp.
Oh,
you got to remember that. So when you're talking about stations,
so that makes him really irrelevant. In other words,
yeah. So I mean, I'm just a little peon, as they say over in the Fargo area. I'm just a speck of dust over here because I don't have any say in a whole lot of things. So. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that.
I bet you Doug Lear isn't talking about the important things in life, and that's protecting our families living in private property. I bet he don't talk about that. So I would say you've got many legs up.
Maybe he does. I don't know anything. I haven't heard his program or anything. I shouldn't say that, but
I've heard.
All I know is what I've heard. What they say about me, and you know what? I'm fine with that. I got a pretty thick skin.
Well, those that must tear down someone over like you doing this, you know what? That probably puts proof in the pudding of what really their reach is also.
Yeah. Well, it's nice to have people like that guy that just called in and talk about that. He didn't want to do it on air, but by God, he just wanted to make his phone call known and talk about it. So that's pretty nice to hear that stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, hey, man, I have to get up to Williston, so I better get busting out and get things ready to all fed up, and I got to put the hammer down. So hopefully Denver Ose is not on Highway 85 today because he is our highway patrolman. All right. Keep in touch, man. Talk to you soon.
All right. Have a good one, Scott.
Thanks, Daryl. Bye. YouTube, I appreciate you guys checking in here and watching. Keep subscribing. I hit the 100 mark and a little bit over. I appreciate that. Thanks for tuning in. Have yourself a good day. See ya.